comfortable for me, And right now, I'm happy, move up, and use my power for victories.
All right. And well, before we face off, do you have a message for all the fans to make sure to catch your fight on May 14th? Message to the fans.
Thanks for your support, guys. To all boxing fans, follow for my boxing career, and I will make very great. I will try to make a very great boxing day, May 14th, with a thriller.
A message for the fans?
Yeah. It's gonna be very big show, so don't miss it.
All right, there you have it. We cannot wait for May 14th. It's all going down at the Forum in Los Angeles. You can catch it streamed live on Fight Worldwide pay-per-view. All right, I think it's time to face off the main event. Let's check it out.
Yo, y'all think Kovalev washed up? He's at cruiserweight now, though, so that's a plus. That's a plus, so he doesn't have to worry about the weight. And he was talking about going to cruiserweight back around the time before Bernard Hopkins. Because I remember it came up at the press conference at Philly. I was at that fight. It was the first boxing media event I've ever attended. But that's our Tervel, Tervel, so close to my name. Tervel Pulev, the brother of Kubrat Pulev. They're both at cruiserweight. That's the guy who exposed Bad Sushi, Jitty Sushi, during the surviving Pulev scandal. That turns out Pulev was vindicated. Jitty Sushi, Bad Sushi. I don't want to get into that story, but listen, this motherfucker Kovalev, let me tell you something. If it's one thing that T Street despises, T Street's mother was a victim of domestic abuse. I was falsely accused with transcripts, docket histories, motions, audio, video, text. I was vindicated from being a alleged woman beater, to the point where there's a lawsuit like pending because of it. It's like, I had to clear my name. But in the case of Sergey Kovalev, I'm going to go ahead and say, listen, from my understanding, he did that shit. Something happened with some woman up in Big Bear. I know who the woman is. I'm not going to, get into too many details. But basically, if you know the story, something happened up in Big Bear, and it was a party. I don't even know if I have to say allegedly anymore, because from my understanding, he owes this woman like money if he hasn't paid her off yet. But there was a party. Let's just say allegedly. There was a party, and allegedly, he followed the woman home and was in the bushes. So she let him in. Something happened to where the woman ends up getting a broken neck from a punch and a dog getting kicked or something like that. He was sued for a lot of money. Fought Anthony Yard. Hey, let's go look at his resume. Fought Anthony Yard. Then Canelo Alvarez. It was pretty hush-hush. It happened around was it the first or second time when he fought Eliader Alvarez? Somebody let me know in the chat or in the comments. But it happened sometime around here. Remember, he had took a second loss of his career by stoppage after Andre Ward. Third loss, actually, but, this one, second stoppage. No secret that he's had some issues with the vodka. You know how the stereotype goes with the Russians and the vodka. He fought Anthony Yard, and as you can see, 3-month turnaround for Canelo Alvarez, got his ass knocked out again. But overall, as you can see, he was doing pretty well in the fight. Just pretty much off of the jab. You can say that he used to be a very talented boxer, but I don't know how much is left, especially after, the two Andre Ward fights. He's 39 years old. I don't know how much is left. So that is a positive that the fight is going to be taking place at cruiserweight, to where, all right, maybe he can hold more vodka in that belly. But to be honest, the cruiserweight division is kind of a little bit all over the place. Because you have Makabu, Don King fighter. Don't be surprised, you know, if he only fights a mandatory, you know, and no fights in between, because, you know, Don King's still going to try to get that Canelo Alvarez payday. Ursuline Goulamarian versus Rayard Murray. Every time I look at these fighters, I say I'm going to look up and see what's going on. Let me see what's going on with him. They were supposed to fight to unify those titles. Maris Breeders is taking on Australian Jai Epatai. Me and my colleague, Big J, we talk about that here. Let's look at the face-off. So we're going to be here on Saturday covering this fight. I might have to cover it in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning or some shit like that, because it's taking place on Triller. And there's other competing cards. For example, you have Charlo Castano too, and that is the fight of the night. Then you have Gilberto Ramirez at 175 taking on Dominic Bozo. That's over on the zone. But this card, really, I want to watch this card. I want to see this card. I'm really interested in this card. You got Kubrat Pulev taking on Jerry Forrest. We're going to look at that in a minute. Kovalev do look a little pudgy right there, but this was the first press conference. You know, I don't exactly remember when this was. So what's this? You know, a couple months ago. You know, the final press conference is tomorrow. We're going to be here streaming that if we have the time. I'm pretty sure we will. It's going to be on fight.tv. You can buy the standalone pay-per-view for $29.99 or buy the Triller Fight Pass, which I'm going to be doing, for the $2.99 a month. And you get to see Cypress Hill versus Onyx. I haven't heard those names since fucking 1994. But I bet it's going to probably be a good time. Here's Tervel Pulev, 16-0 with 13 KOs. From, of course, you know, Bulgaria. Nobody on his resume of note that I know of. Here's the event overall. Kubrat Pulev versus Jerry Forrest. Here is Pulev. He did fight in the triad combat where he beat up Vitor Belfort, right? That's who he beat up? Who did Kubrat Pulev fight in Triller? Let me look it up real quick. I done forgot. Y'all know already. I say it all the time. My memory is shit. He's 41 years old. Let's see. He did fight. Pulev was knocked out. Here it is, November 2021. He fought Frank Mir. Of course, it wasn't Belfort. Belfort was going to fight De La Hoya, you know, but yeah, Frank Mir knocked him out in the triad, in the triangle ring. Okay, but his last boxing event was against Anthony Joshua 2 years ago. Nearly 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. He was the IBF mandatory. Jerry Forrest, you've heard of him before, 26-4-2, 20 KOs. Fought Michael Hunter. Fought the Chinaman, CCP J Lee, just a joke. Carlos Takam, Jermaine Franklin. I believe that was maybe on Showbox. You know, so he's been around. You've heard of him before. And also on the card, you have Evan Holyfield, the son of Vander Holyfield, one of the many kids of Vander Holyfield, and the three Vargas brothers, who, if you watch Triller Fight Club, they have a little segment on here on the Triller Fight Club YouTube channel. There's all three of them right here.
This is our time to shine. Just we're pushing each other, and that's what I think is amazing, having brothers in this sport.
That's the Fernando Vargas brothers. People always say that Fernando Vargas was one of those fighters that just was pushed into the big time too soon, I guess. You know, they should have really, like, you know, brought him along a little slower. But, you know, and didn't he fail that drug test for De La Hoya? You know, I remember that. That was like a big time thing. And he was like, people were looking like, how did he get his body like that? And then he in there damn near knocking De La Hoya out the ring and shit. Wild times back in the 90s. Or was that the 2000s? I don't remember. But either way, nonetheless, I'm looking forward to this card. I'm going to watch it. You know, I just don't know exactly when I'm going to have time with Charlo Castano. Tony Yoka is taking on Martin Bacoli earlier in the day. I'm pulling up the fight schedule from Dan Rayfield's website right here, Fight Freaks Unite, which, as you can see, I'm a happy $5.99 a month supporter. This fight's tomorrow, Angel Acosta versus Janelle Rivera. It's going to be on the zone. Significant fights or credible, somewhat quality fights of the weekend. Josh Kelly versus Lord knows. Don't even get me started here. with that name. Sonny Kanto is fighting up in Ben Salem. Hannah Rankin. Here's the Charlo Castano 2, Boots Ennis versus Custio Clayton. Kevin Gonzalez versus Emanuel Rivera. Then you have over in the zone, Gilberto Ramirez taking on Dominic Boza. William Cepeda versus Rene Alvarado. And then, oh yeah, I keep forgetting about this bullshit. Floyd Mayweather versus Don Moore. Anderson Silva versus Bruno Machado. I mean, listen, and that's a midday card. It's like, listen, it's like, you know, as the saying goes about like the car crash, or, the car wreck, even though it's going to be some gruesome shit, this is like, oh my gosh, maybe that's the wrong analogy or whatever. But anyway, listen, it's like, I'm going to take a look. All right. I'm going to take a gander and I'm going to cover it. Even though I may not like it, I may talk trash, but I'm still going to cover it. And then, of course, this card right here, Pulev, the Pulev brothers Pulev, Tervel in the main event, Kubrat on the undercard, Tony Yoka versus Bacoli. Yeah, pretty busy. Manny Rodriguez is even back up in Newark, of all places. Yeah, it's going to be pretty busy. So, in T-Street Controversy with Fight View 360, don't be surprised if this card doesn't get covered until Sunday morning, some shit like early, but I'm definitely going to be covering this card. Only the two, the main event and the co-feature, Pulev versus Forrest and Kovalev versus Pulev. But I am going to take a look at the, Vargas brothers. There's three of them, so one of them might get knocked out. Let's see, who's the good one, and do some research. And then, of course, Evan Holyfield. Taking place on Triller on T-Street Controversy with 5v360. Take your time out. Like the video, subscribe.